I will tell you a story about time. Time is a tricky thing. It can pass in the blink of an eye or drag on for an eternity. Me, I'm as old as time itself. I've seen many things and many amazing adventures and led many lives. But when you think about it, we're all different people through our lives, yes. The 7 ages of man. We are not always the flamboyant eccentric, and we're not always the quiet, thoughtful child. And that's okay, that's good, so long as you remember all the people you used to be and all the friends you meet on your journey.
Dylan Thomas, I'm the Doctor. Pleasant to meet you. If you want to survive, run for your life!
Trouble always seems to find me, no matter where or when I go. It always manages to catch up with me at some point in time, and this story is no different.
Wow.
Dylan, my boy, you don't need to be scared anymore. Go back to your writing. I think you're gonna make some fantastic stories. See you in the future.
It is a story of one of my greatest adventures, crowned full of Daleks, Cybermen, Autons, and my old enemy, the Master. and a very good friend, Lucy. Lucy had been my companion through many exciting exploits. But this adventure took us to an eerie, long-neglected castle at the foothills of the Carpathian Mountains. The castle had once been owned by a count with an unfortunate reputation for drinking blood. Although it now had a much more terrifying inhabitant, a Dalek. The Dalek was a scout Dalek. It had been tracking an anachronism, a time signature that was outside its proper place in time and space. We followed the time signature, and it led us to a school thousands of miles away in Wales. When we arrived at the school, my sonic screwdriver started to buzz and flash erratically, trying to locate the anachronism. But it couldn't pinpoint the location.
Come on!
The TARDIS was up to its old tricks again, and she had brought us to the right place, but the wrong time. Meanwhile, my old enemy, the Master, was nearing the end of his final regeneration, and he was doing everything in his power to keep himself alive. The Master's body had become decrepit, and it was failing him. Hence, he was harvesting technology throughout time to replace his failing body. We hadn't always been enemies. In fact, in our early reincarnations, we had been the best of friends. But the Master's lust for power and destruction eventually pulled us apart. Our many encounters since then have only served to intensify his anger and all-consuming hatred for me. We continued to follow the signal from my sonic screwdriver, but again our timing was off. The TARDIS transported us to Cardiff Bay, but this time we were too late. The time signature had moved, and all that was left behind were a few electronic components from a Cyberman's head. The fragments were severely damaged. However, I was able to boost the signal enough to trace the time signature to another castle. This time, it was a picturesque castle in the Welsh valleys. But the Master was one step ahead of us. While Lucy and I chased the time signature, the Master was busy recruiting an apprentice, Jodie, the young girl who had found the Cyberman head. She had spotted the Master lurking in the shadows as her class entered the castle, and when Jodie approached him, he used his hypnotic power to bend her mind to his will, forcing her to do his bidding. Regrettably, by the time we arrived, the Master and Jodie had disappeared. Fortunately, they weren't hard to trace. The Master left a series of time anomalies in his wake as he tried to pluck from time the technology he needed to survive. The next time signature led us back to Llanelli House during the 1840s, where ghostly sightings had been reported roaming the hallways of the servants' quarters. We intended to beat the Master to the anomaly. However, the final message from an unfortunate maid who died in the imposing old house distracted Lucy, and we got separated. Poor Lucy soon realized that it was not a ghost haunting the hallways of this house, but an Auton that had been removed from its correct time and place by the Master. Luckily for her, I arrived in the nick of time with a veil of anti-plastic. Compelled Jodie to fetch the Autons' hand, and as much as I wanted to stop them, I knew what the Master was capable of. He could so easily turn on a friend. He would have no qualms about hurting his apprentice. Shortly afterwards, the Master and Jodie returned to the school, but they didn't come alone. They brought true evil with them.
Exterminate all humans!
A being with no conscience, no compassion, a Dalek.
Exterminate! Exterminate!
Can I stay at school? Yeah, of course.
Exterminate! Exterminate!
The Dalek caused havoc, attacking pupils and staff, but Lucy showed such courage in the face of danger as she led the pupils to safety.
Exterminate all humans! Exterminate!
confronted the Dalek, but it was too powerful for me alone. I managed to flee to my TARDIS and retrieve my most faithful companion, K9. Luckily, the Skullcraft room had the tools I needed to revive my old friend, because a Dalek is no match for a tin dog.
Affirmative. Exterminate! Exterminate! Great danger! Affirmative. An efficient machine.
We continued to follow the Master as we visited a desolate library in search of another piece of technology. At first glance, the library seemed deserted, but something lurked in the shadows, watching and waiting. Ghostly fingers reached through the darkness, grasping for their prey. A swarm of carnivorous shadow monsters called the Vashta Nerada had invaded the library. Lucy and I tried to find the Master and Jodie, but with claws reaching for us out of the darkness, it was an arduous task. Lucy lit a candle to fend off the shadows. Just as I thought I had gotten through to Jodie, the Master exerted his control once again. We barely managed to escape the library unscathed. But the Master had already moved on to his destination. So again, we followed this signal from my sonic screwdriver. This time it led us to an industrial museum where one of the display cases held an unusual and unique object. It was one of the few pieces of technology that had fallen through time and survived the Great Time Battle, a remnant from a great race of warriors. With a great deal of effort, the Master opened the case, withdrew the arm, and attached it to his weakened body. sent his henchmen to create panic in the museum. While Lucy and I were busy helping innocent bystanders, the Master and Jodie discovered the special display case. Then just as I thought I had the Master's cornered, he zapped open a portal of his ancestral home on Gallifrey. Jodie helped the Master through the portal, and I rushed through after them. Meanwhile, poor Lucy had been left behind at the museum, scared and alone, with no way of contacting me. As I explored the house, searching for the Master, I found remnants of the time signature we had been pursuing. Even with the technology I'd harvested so far, it was not enough to hold back the ravages of time. The Master was deteriorating and unable to move without support. I watched from afar, waiting for my chance to release Jodie from the Master's spell.
Wake up!
When I snapped her out of his trance, the Master was furious. Jodie and I escaped into the grounds of the Master's house, but he pursued us, his wrath propelling him forward. Unfortunately, I was no match for his augmented body. As he prepared to deliver the final blow, Jody launched a vial of anti-plastic at the master. He dropped to his knees in agony as his harvested body parts failed. I offered to help him, but my audiences refused to accept my assistance. Even when he desperately needed it, staggering off into the shadows. I returned to my TARDIS for one final visit to bid an old friend farewell.
Look at the stars, look how they shine for you, and everything you do. Yeah, they were all yellow. I came along, I wrote a song for you, and all the things you do, and it was called Yellow. So then I took my turn. Oh, what a thing to have done. And it was all yellow. Your skin, oh yeah, your skin and bones turning to something beautiful. You know I love you so. You know I love you so. Jumped across for you. Oh, what a thing to do. 'Cause you were all yellow. I drew a line for you. Oh, what a thing to do.
Doctor! Again.
Do hope so, Lucy.
Turning to something beautiful. You know, for you I'd bleed myself dry. For you I'd bleed myself dry. Shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine.
And so, this is the end of my story, but the thing to remember about stories is that as you reach the end of one chapter, there's always another exciting chapter waiting for you on the next page.
Laura! Hello, Laura. I'm the doctor. I'm your friend of your father. You want me to give you this when the time is right.